You pull up to the drive-thru. You order the same combo you've been ordering for years. The total comes back $17. You sit there for a second. That used to be $12. You are not imagining it. McDonald's U.S. President Joe Erlinger confirmed it in a public letter in May 2024. Average menu prices are up 40% since 2019. He wrote it himself. That number is not from a critic or a complaint thread. It came from inside the building. Here is the part that changes everything. McDonald's does not primarily make its money selling you food. It makes its money collecting rent and royalties from the people who do. In 2023, McDonald's reported $14 billion in total revenues. $9.7 billion of that came from franchise fees, rent and royalties paid by the operators running those stores. The company's own annual report, its 10-K filing, lays this out in plain language almost nobody reads. McDonald's profits whether the burger is good or the line is slow or the ice cream machine works. The operator absorbs the risk. McDonald's collects the check. In that structure, the rent, the royalty, the franchise agreement, is the machine underneath the price increase. Not food costs alone, not wages alone. The machine. Franchise operators pay a percentage of sales back to corporate every single month. When their costs rise, the only lever they control is the price on the menu board. So they pull it. The 40% increase is real. Erlinger confirmed it. The mechanism driving it runs deeper than inflation. It is written into every franchise contract McDonald's has ever signed. That contract has a specific structure, specific percentages, specific terms. And McDonald's own filings describe exactly how it works. Here is how the machine actually works. McDonald's corporate does not own most of the restaurants that carry its name. According to the company's 2023 annual report, its 10-K filed with the SEC, 95% of McDonald's locations worldwide are owned and operated by independent franchisees. These are private business owners who signed a contract, paid an upfront fee, and now run a McDonald's under the Golden Arches. That contract comes with a price. Every franchisee pays McDonald's corporate a royalty on their gross sales. Not profit, gross sales. In 2023, that royalty rate sat at 4 to 5% of every dollar that came through the register. But the royalty is only half the equation. Here is where the structure gets unusual. McDonald's corporate owns or controls the real estate under the majority of its franchise locations. The franchisee does not own the building or the land. They lease it from McDonald's. That rent payment runs an additional 10 to 15% of gross sales, depending on the location and the lease terms, according to the 2023 10-K. Add those together before a franchisee buys a single pound of beef, before they pay a single wage. They are already sending somewhere between 15 and 20 cents of every dollar back to corporate. McDonald's collected $9.7 billion in franchise revenues in 2023 from that structure alone. The franchisee is left to cover food costs, labor, utilities, and equipment from what remains. When commodity prices rise, when minimum wage laws push labor costs up, the franchisee absorbs that pressure from a margin that was already thin before the first expense hit. There's only one lever they control: the menu price, which raises the question the 2023 annual report does not answer. Exactly who decided how far to pull it, and how much of that 40% increase actually reached the franchisee's pocket versus someone else's. Open McDonald's 2023 annual report. Its 10-K filed with the SEC. The numbers stop looking like a restaurant company almost immediately. Total revenues that year, $14 billion. Franchise revenues alone, $9.7 billion. Nearly 70% of everything McDonald's earns comes not from selling food but from charging franchisees rent and royalties. The margin on that franchise revenue was over 80%. The margin on food sold at company-operated restaurants was 16%. McDonald's corporate makes 5 times more, proportionally on a lease payment than on a burger. This gap was engineered over decades through a strategy called sale-leaseback. McDonald's would buy the land beneath a franchise location, then lease it back to the franchisee at a markup. The franchisee gets to operate. McDonald's becomes the landlord. Bloomberg has documented this structure extensively. By the early 2000s, McDonald's owned or controlled the real estate under the majority of its franchise locations worldwide. The restaurants sell hamburgers, the corporation collects rent. Here is what that means in practice. A franchisee owes McDonald's a royalty, typically around 5% of gross sales. Then they owe rent on top of that, often another 10 to 12% of sales. Before a single employee is paid, 15 to 17 cents of every dollar a customer spends goes directly to corporate. That obligation does not move when costs move. Labor goes up, the rent stays. Beef prices spike, the royalty stays. The franchisee absorbs the squeeze. The menu price is how they survive it. Joe Erlinger, McDonald's US president, published an open letter in May 2024 defending the pricing. He cited a Big Mac at $5.29 versus $4.39 in 2019. A 21% increase, he said. But the Big Mac is not the whole menu. Independent analysts at Kalinowski Equity Research tracked broader menu inflation across the same period at closer to 40%. The open letter chose its math carefully. So here is the real question going into the next chapter. When food costs and labor costs both spiked simultaneously in 2022 and 2023, and franchisees had nowhere left to absorb the pressure, what actually broke and who paid for it? Here is the part that turns the whole story darker. The $1, $2, $3 menu was McDonald's promise. It was the thing that said, no matter what, you can still eat here. By October 2023, that promise was quietly retired. McDonald's ended the dollar menu nationally and replaced it with a higher-priced platform called McValue. The name changed, the prices did not go back down. This did not happen by accident. Franchisees had been formally complaining to corporate for years. Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal both documented it. Operator satisfaction surveys showed franchisee relations at multi-decade lows by 2024. The operators who owned the restaurants were telling McDonald's that the value menu was bleeding them dry under their cost structure. Corporate listened, the affordability signal disappeared. The USDA's Consumer Price Index data shows McDonald's price inflation outpaced overall food away from home inflation between 2019 and 2024. The whole restaurant industry got more expensive. McDonald's got more expensive faster. The system then entered a loop. Higher prices pushed away lower-income customers, which squeezed franchisee margins tighter. Squeezed operators cut staff and reduced quality. That drove even more customers away. By April 2024, McDonald's reported U.S. same-store sales growth of just 2.5%, the slowest in 3 years outside the pandemic. Then July 29, 2024 arrived. On the Q2 earnings call, McDonald's disclosed the first global same-store sales decline since 2020. Down 1%, CEO Chris Kempczynski said it plainly. Across our top 10 markets, consumers are more discriminating with their spend. Lower-income customers had stopped coming. Not slowed down, stopped. McDonald's response was the $5 meal deal, launched June 25, 2024. A promotional patch on a structural problem. The question now is whether a limited-time deal can fix something that took 6 years to break. And that is exactly what the final chapter answers. That receipt on your dashboard, the one that said $17, now has an explanation. Not a good one, but an explanation. Here is what you now know that most people driving through that same lane do not. McDonald's corporate collected $9.7 billion in rent and royalties in 2023 alone. That money moved before a single burger was flipped, before a single wage was paid, before the fryer was even turned on. So the next time a price goes up, ask one question: who actually owns this building? If the location is franchised, in 9 out of 10 are. The operator is writing a rent check to McDonald's corporate every single month. That rent is calculated as a percentage of sales. Higher prices mean a higher check. The math runs in one direction only. Pull up any McDonald's location on Google Maps. Scroll to the reviews. Franchised locations and corporate-owned locations behave differently. Different staffing levels, different promotion participation, different price flexibility. Knowing which one you are walking into is information. On the $5 meal deal, Joe Erlinger's open letter in May 2024 confirmed the company was fighting back on affordability. But franchisees fund that promotion partly from their own margins. The discount is real, the cost of offering it is also real, and it lands on the operator, not the corporation with the 80% plus margin on royalty income. McDonald's told you the Big Mac only went up 21%. The full menu went up 40%. Both numbers are in the public record. Neither one is a secret. The structural conflict does not resolve. A company that profits from a percentage of every sale has no financial reason to lower prices. The incentive points one direction only. That $17 total is not a mistake. It is arithmetic. Subscribe, a new breakdown like this every day.